Apple is introducing a new lossless format that its own devices can't even support.
And there are more low hash rate graphics cards jumping into the market, not just from Galax.
Turns out Starfield might not be even close to finished.
And Lamborghini Lamborghini Electric. More on that and more on the Tech Summit Podcast, episode 50. I am Francisco.
I'm Chris.
And if you're watching on YouTube right now, all of our social media is going to be right down here in the, in the doobly-doo, as some people say.
And of course, if you are listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, all of that information will be in the respective descriptions.
And that's right. Now, with that said, of course, we simply cannot really start an episode of the Tech Summit Podcast without thanking our patrons first. So we would like to give a very special thanks to, firstly, our tier 3, $10
patrons.
Yeah, patrons. And at this time, those are going to be both Omar and Saad Al-Wazal. Thank you so much for all of your support and for going all the way to conquer Tech Summit. You are the Tech Summit conquerors, after all. And also, we would like to give another special thank you to the rest of our Tier 2 patrons, the $5 patrons. So those are going to be Armani, Dizzy _YTT, or just YT period. I tend to forget. I'm sorry. There's going to be Maury. There's going to be C. There's going to be Rick's Rocks. And there is going to be hang on. I promise.
Just have that list up front, man.
I know.
Especially as that list continues to grow, you need to have that list up.
Indeed. I think that's pretty much everybody, though. But I am going to make 100% certain. Just hang on 1 second in case I miss anybody. Yeah, just keep whispering into the microphone. I'm sure people love it. Oh, and Luke. Yes, I was missing Luke. So my sincerest of apologies there, Luke. So again, to all of you, thank you so much for all of your support. And just so you know, you have all been automatically entered for the giveaway of the Stream Deck Mini. We're going to be announcing the winner for this just next week, next Sunday. So do look forward to that. It is going to be pretty cool. I would like to say we're going to be announcing the winner right here on the podcast. And if you yourself are interested in participating in the giveaway, again, do make sure to pledge to the Patreon. Tier 2s and Tier 3s are automatically entered, so you still have a chance to win. And not to mention that next month, again, we're going to be holding another giveaway for patrons exclusively. That's going to be the case every single month. And once we reach 50 patrons, it's going to be weekly giveaways from there.
And we will reveal what it is after we announce the winner for this one, correct?
Indeed. Yes.
Of course.
Yes, I do think that it is only fair. But with that said, let's jump right into the news.
Of course. Right into the news.
Okay. I have a lot of ranting to do about this topic that you're going to bring up. So go ahead.
The Apple one?
Yes.
Okay. So, I'm going to be quoting from Mac Rumors, as always. Thanks, Mac Rumors. Julie Clover. I believe we've covered one of Julie Clover's articles in the past, too. So
don't quite remember, but if we did,
it might be one of the remote episodes. So
maybe.
So, but basically what it comes down to is that Apple is introducing a new lossless audio format for its Apple Music subscription service, which, cool.
Everybody celebrate, okay?
For
You're going to get higher quality audio.
Yes, for people who are audiophiles, this is a amazing new thing, to have lossless audio in a streaming format. I believe only Tidal really had that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's not super common to come across that kind of thing. And oftentimes, like I myself, when I'm trying to test out headphones and the like, I'm trying to find the best audio samples of whatever song I'm trying to listen to test out the headphones, and it is pretty tough to do. You would be surprised.
Yeah.
So yeah, this sounds really cool to me.
Exactly. It's like you're able to sort of get a better vibe of how it was supposed to sound from the studio.
Yes, I was just turning that on.
You get the vibe. What is that anyway? I don't think you mentioned it on the main episode. You mentioned it on the bonus episode once.
What, this?
Yeah.
Oh, so this is going to be the Divoom Ditto. That is the name of this product. And this essentially is going to be like a mini arcade machine. It's super tiny. Charges over USB-C, by the way, which already makes it super modern. It's got mechanical keys as well, which is pretty cool. But you can just play games on it. You can treat this as a Bluetooth speaker. It's essentially a hub for all of your cool things.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes,
Yeah, so thanks to Divoom for sending this over for review, of
of
course.
course. And then back to Apple a little bit here.
Yeah.
So obviously, lossless audio files is very preferred for like a sort of authentic studio experience of like how it was supposed to originally sound, how it was originally recorded. But of course, Apple giveth, Apple taketh away.
Cometh the hour, cometh the man.
In that it turns out that even though Apple themselves are the one that are going to be releasing this lossless and high resolution lossless
Sounds
audio
good.
formats for their Apple Music streaming service, AirPods, AirPods Max, and AirPods Pro are not compatible.
This is a massive disappointment to hear. I don't own AirPods. I don't own AirPods Pro, and I certainly don't own AirPods Max.
You certainly tried.
I tried my darn hardest, I
You
will
tried.
say. Yes. I have owned AirPods and AirPods Pro in the past, though. But I have to say that, while AirPods and AirPods Pro are not really going to benefit so much from lossless audio, I highly doubt that, they're just going to have the capacity of actually, giving you that kind of, like the kind of advantage that lossless is supposed to offer versus just regular MP3s. I don't think that they would be able to manage that, but the AirPods Max should be able to do that a lot more comfortably, I want to say.
At its price range, absolutely.
It should be able
You're
to.
talking $500+ for a pair of headphones
Yes.
that do not support Apple Music's lossless
Yeah.
audio format.
So I understand restricting it from AirPods Pro and just regular AirPods because they're not going to be able to take advantage of it. And while I don't think that AirPods Max are going to be able to fully take advantage of it either, because they're not audiophile headphones by any means.
So according to the article, Apple's lossless audio is encoded as Apple's lossless audio codec files, with lossless quality ranging from 16-bit 44.1 kilohertz playback to 24-bit 48 kilohertz playback, and a high-res lossless offering 24-bit 192 kilohertz.
That's a much
Quality.
broader range.
AirPods, AirPods Pro, and AirPods Max are limited to the Bluetooth AAC codec when paired with an iPhone and will not be able to stream the lossless files. Apple confirmed this for the record.
This is why they should have had some kind of headphone jack, or at the very least, some way of being able to connect the AirPods Max wired to whatever device you're using.
You think that for a high-end headphone device with that cost and all of the features that it's trying to market,
With a bra for a case.
you think, yes, that's right. you would think that it would be able to support things like lossless audio file. It would come with a headphone jack, and yet it doesn't.
I thought this is what it would be designed for. Probably like digging deeper into
What is
the
it
ecosystem.
actually designed for at this point? Is it a fashion icon? I hope not, because it's ugly as sin, in my opinion. But
I mean, like, this pretty much tells me you're not going to be able to use it with Apple's own audio products. I mean, is it compatible with the HomePod Mini?
so that's the part I didn't want to mention until we started recording.
It is.
Apple confirms that lossless audio can be listened to on an iPhone, iPad, Mac, or Apple TV, and T3 has also said that the HomePod is compatible, even though it wasn't listed in Apple's initial announcement. So the HomePod, and presumably the HomePod Mini, because the original HomePod is discontinued now,
Yes.
the HomePod Mini can support lossless audio quality, but the things that you put on your freaking ears can't.
Yes.
That's insanity to me. $500 headphones.
$550
$550 headphones plus tax,
plus tax. Yes.
plus whatever scalper price is, because remember, those things actually got scalped,
I mean, not anymore, but
thankfully. But
yeah.
in any case,
Yeah.
that
they recovered.
$550 devices plus tax that you put on your ears, which is where you would most experience lossless audio quality and spatial audio, which I know the AirPods Max do mention spatial audio.
Spatial audio is really nice.
It is very nice. It would be even nice if it was lossless.
I know. Lossless spatial
So
audio would be
all of that
amazing.
money going right onto your ears, and you cannot even take full advantage of them. Meanwhile, you have a $100 tiny little pod that you just stick at like the kitchen counter, and it can play lossless, even though you might not be able to experience it that much, just because it is still a speaker. Like it's decent quality. It's decent quality.
It's actually very good quality for the money.
But nevertheless,
yeah.
you're still going to run into problems like the acoustics of the room, for example. It's
Yes.
like it's not a studio, so you're still going to manage compromises. Headphones would be even better, and they can't even support it, even though it costs more than quintuple the price.
Yes. So it sounds like other third-party devices would be able to support this. Maybe that aren't necessarily Apple devices, but it's not. I don't disagree whatsoever with them having lossless audio. As I mean, I would like to think that
Well, that's good, yeah.
Yeah, like that is a great
Apple
thing.
having lossless audio just feels like a right thing to do. Again, Tidal's been doing it for a little bit, I'm pretty sure. I don't think Spotify does yet.
No, Spotify does not. But you would think that they would probably want to bring that kind of support to their own ecosystem, which is what I found so strange.
It should be a priority.
Yeah, so like through your little Apple iPhone 12 speakers, you'll be able to listen to lossless audio.
So high-res lossless will require high-res lossless will require a USB, quoting directly from Mac Rumors again.
Okay.
High-res lossless will require a USB digital to analog converter or similar equipment, but will provide the best sound experience. Listening to lossless audio on an iPhone will require wired headphones, and it's possible an additional dongle will be needed to get the best sound quality.
Interesting.
AirPods Max will also not support lossless audio over the Lightning cable, Apple told them.
What's the point of this then? Like, oh my goodness. This is just bad. Like, this is why we have also been saying for a pretty long time, Apple, we need USB-C. On these iPhones.
Too, that when they come up with a new version of the AirPod Max, when there's like an AirPod Max 2 for like $600, they're going to advertise a big feature saying, "Oh, we can support lossless now."
Yes.
You know it.
Over Bluetooth.
Bluetooth.
Yeah, like all of a sudden it'll be possible, and maybe that's why they have been restricting it.
No, I doubt it. I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, like that was definitely more so like tinfoil hat-esque, but this is ridiculous on Apple's end. Like this is something I was not expecting. Like I would think that they would introduce a feature like this to actually make it so that more of an incentive to go with their stuff, because they've been doing stuff like this for quite a while. So the fact that they're like, yes, we're introducing these things, please go to a third party now to take advantage of it.
Buy some wireless headphones in order to make use of it. It's just
well, you can't even, because it is going to require an analog converter as well.
For high quality
lossless,
it mentions that you might need an additional dongle, but for just regular lossless, it sounds like wired headphones on an iPhone will do the trick. So these cheapo earbuds that were like $10 would technically be able to play lossless more than the AirPods Max at $550. Will it sound good on here? Will it make use of it? No, but it could do it. Surely.
It defeats the purpose either way, though. And that's kind of the point that I'm trying to make. Like, not now it's like I'm more than certain that Apple is going to be like, oh, we don't know what devices are gonna support it best. You do your own research. You look it up.
And then everyone comes out of the woodwork, Audio Technica.
Yeah. Because I like Audio Technica.
So do I.
Yeah. But like, what I'm trying to get at here is that like Apple's not going to name drop any brands. Like, they're not going to recommend anyone else for that. Like, they're just going to say, we recommend that you go with this method, but you do your own research as to what you should do to really take advantage of this feature. Like, that's kind of what makes me so upset about this. It's
their ideal clearly is that you bought the AirPods Max. You're upset that you can't use them with lossless, and then when they announced AirPods Max 2 that supports lossless, you buy them again.
Yes, and you can trade in your old AirPods Max for like $2.
Like that's it feels like that's their best case. That's what they want.
I'm pretty pissed off about that.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Everybody switch to Tidal. I don't know if Tidal has podcasts, but
yeah. Oh my gosh. Lossless podcast audio, spatial audio for podcasts. But yeah,
it's like you're right there in the room with them.
Oh my gosh, it's like I'm sitting right next to Christopher. Oh man, it's so cool. We should start doing that actually. Lossless podcast episodes.
Tier 4 Patreon reward. You can come over to here, like watch us record in person.
Yes, of course, and you're guaranteed to win in the giveaway.
Right over there. Just give you a stool.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that would actually be kind of cool if we ever like get around.
I would
doing
feel
that.
very uncomfortable. I'll be honest with you.
Really?
Someone just staring at me while I'm recording this. Yeah, I'd just be like, oh.
Well,
I performance anxiety on a podcast.
performance anxiety. I mean, I guess so. Yeah, I can understand that, especially with like more people around. Even though it's our podcast, like we're the bosses, you know.
Of course.
Yeah. Now, with that said, I think from here we're pretty much safe to move on to the next topic, and that's actually going to be regarding NVIDIA's own graphics cards. Yet again, we have been talking about graphics cards for quite a while.
Is it a shame corner or is it a praise corner?
It should be a praise corner. Yes.
This is the designated praise corner for now, at least.
Yes. Yes, for now, until we find a better shade of green that's not yellow. Even though I think it might be the other way around. But so remember last time how we were talking about Galax releasing low hash rate graphics cards at first.
Okay.
You know, to try and make it so that these cards are not quite as not nearly as efficient for miners. So you know, it disincentivizes miners from wanting to get their hands on it. Scalpers are still going to be on
Crypto miners.
Yes, crypto miners, of
If
course.
you are just a regular miner, ask your parents' permission before buying graphics cards.
Or don't. Or do. Do it.
Save up your money from the lemonade stand.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yes, I shall. So, it is awesome, of course, hearing those news. We hadn't heard too much about more news surrounding that since up until actually very recently, when it seems like a bunch of other brands are jumping onto that trend, and they have been releasing low hash rate graphics cards to try and combat that, and that is definitely appreciated. So one thing that is important to note about the 3000 series RTX cards is that these cards were supposedly released as encrypted cards, right? You know, cards that you're not supposed to really make too many changes to. You can overclock them, but you're not supposed to dive too deep into, you know, the code of these to do much more than that. You know, you're not supposed to unlock too many things on this besides being able to overclock them. However, the biggest concern here is that it has been proven that it is still very easy to actually get around that. So people are still concerned that people would be able to get around unlocking whatever is holding these graphics cards back from being able to produce that kind of hash rate, and unlock them so that they could still produce that kind of hash rate. So people are really wondering here, is this really a solution to the problem, or is this just padding, and they know that it's still going to continue to be an issue, and they're just trying to make it seem like, we tried our best.
They're going to find a workaround, definitely. If you're particularly determined to mine cryptocurrency, you're going to find a way.
Yes.
Life finds a way. But
yes, and Ethereum miners are very much on the dot right now. They really need
and of course, Bitcoin's
performance.
being mined with different technology entirely at this point.
Yeah, I think it's with ASIC, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. Can you spell that for me?
I'll
find out on
know.
my pocket research. No, never mind then.
Yeah. But I have been hearing that term being tossed around quite a bit as of late. I'm not too familiar with ASIC. However, I mean CPU. Strong CPUs are being used for Bitcoin, if I'm not mistaken, but also for a lot of other cryptocurrencies, like Dogecoin, you know, the big ones. The big boys, but one of the ones that specifically use GPU intensive workloads, I guess, would be Ethereum. So that's why graphics cards are in such high demand. It is mostly because of Ethereum at the moment, and Ethereum's pricing going up, even though there was supposedly crashes of late when it came to cryptocurrency.
I know Dogecoin crashed pretty badly this past week. I'm back in the negative. That concludes your stock scoop.
Yeah. Oh, wrong button. Wrong purple.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's it.
Yeah.
But no, I think this is a solution. It's not going to be the solution. It's not going to solve all of the problems, but at the same time, it's going to help a little bit. Again, most cryptocurrency, I feel like it's a good way to stop people who are trying to get into cryptocurrency mining. But if you're already knee deep in it with this being your primary source of income, you're going to find a workaround.
You will. I do agree with that. this can help in mitigating, and I do appreciate the effort. I do, because I I dare say that nothing has actually been done to try and mitigate this up until now.
No, and it's getting worse and worse between cryptocurrencies and NFTs. I just remembered one of the things I might have wanted to talk about a little bit on this episode, and it's relatively related to this whole subject.
Was it about Charlie bit my finger?
Correct. Exactly.
So yes, so Charlie bit my finger was a pretty popular video for a very long time.
I want to. I know some people on Tech Summit's audience do sway a little bit younger, but I want to hope that most people know what Charlie bit my finger is.
Yes.
Or Charlie bit my finger 2, isn't it? It's technically 2.
It might be 2. However, one of those videos that it's titled.
Whichever.
Yeah, one of those.
The big one.
Yeah, the big one is being taken off from YouTube so that it can be sold for a higher price as an NFT.
I believe it's 600,000, give or take.
Yeah,
somewhere in that realm.
Which, I mean, I might be looking for stuff that I can sell as well.
Have you gone viral?
I do have a video that did do pretty well, but
Now,
I don't know.
Of course, this is upsetting because
that?
Charlie Bit My Finger is one of the most viewed original videos on YouTube. Like, I'm not talking like if you ignore music videos and things like that.
Yeah,
it's one of like
a homemade or OG.
Exactly,
video.
it's like one of the original viral hits.
Yes,
from back in the mid to late 2000s when YouTube was in its infancy. I get it because they were babies in the video. But in any case, it's extremely upsetting that one of these like internet historical pieces is theoretically, and I'll get to that in a moment, theoretically being taken down to profit off of as an NFT. Now, of course, if the people who are profiting off of it are the original family, then it's like, all right, you guys do you, because I'm pretty sure for as viral as it's been, for how much people have used that clip in other pieces of media, they probably never saw a dime for that. So if they want to make the money, fine.
That is very true.
The problem is trying to remove it afterwards.
Yeah.
And I guess it also shows just how dumb NFTs are, because they say remove it from the internet, there's going to be several copies.
Yes. It's just that, you know, like when somebody looks into your wallet, like they can see, oh, you're technically the owner of it.
Of that specific copy, the original copy.
Yes.
But you can just go onto YouTube and you'll probably find like 20, 30, 50 mirrors.
And 99.9% of people will be more than satisfied with that.
Exactly. Like one person, I believe, when we were hearing about the news, they commented like, oops, I accidentally downloaded the video. Uh-oh. So it's like they have access to the video. It's like, oh, so they can just re-upload it now.
Yeah. I mean, like, we could all go right now and download it. Also, like when it comes to Jack Dorsey's tweet, which also sold for a lot of money as an NFT, you know, you could go right now and download that tweet and own it. You
can just look at the tweet itself. You can find another image of the tweet. You can find a JPEG. It's
exactly, or just screenshot it. That will work totally fine.
And of course, I imagine
lossless screenshots.
I imagine that making these NFTs also involves using a lot of GPU power, because it's basically a similar process to a cryptocurrency.
It does, which does lead into broader conversations about the environment.
And so I'm thinking that NVIDIA's methods here of trying to like introduce more low hash rate cards could also like possibly be trying to curb the NFT thing.
I doubt it.
You don't think so?
It doesn't sound like that's the focus, but like it could be, I want to say, like collateral from that as well. Mm-hmm. Like it could be one additional benefit that's kind of being overlooked. I can see that.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't think that was NVIDIA's incentive there, because I don't see why they would really want to necessarily curve that. NVIDIA does not care about anything that doesn't make them money directly.
So then why would they care about curbing cryptocurrency mining?
Because everybody is complaining to them.
Okay, everybody's complaining, but they're still getting sales, so why should they care then? They're making money either way.
Yeah, but this gives them incentive to still retain PR. And in this case, like the biggest issue regarding PR in NVIDIA is that they have really bad PR surrounding just the fact that they don't have any stock whatsoever for gamers. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really what they're trying to mitigate. What they're trying to at least, try to put a Band-Aid on to say, oh, we tried. We tried to make a low hash rate version of the card.
I'm just trying to think. So, because obviously with cryptocurrency mining, of course, the person makes money off that because they just sell the cryptocurrency afterwards or whatever. But with NFTs, if you're using your computer to make an NFT, do you take a cut from that? Obviously, the person who
That's a good question, actually.
like that's what I'm trying to figure out because I feel like it's possible that part of the problem could also be NFT create manufacturers, and
Fair enough.
So it's like, do they take a cut out of that if they like whoever's making Charlie Bit My Finger into an NFT? The person who makes it so gives you that little digital seal of approval or certification. Whatever, are they getting a cut of that $600,000? I want to think so.
I'm curious too. I mean, I would hope so. Yeah.
Why else would they be doing? Well, I don't hope so because obviously it's bad. But
Yeah.
why else would they be doing it
Yeah.
if they're not getting like a cut out of it?
True that. True that. I mean, like it's only fair, right? Otherwise, like, what would be the point of offering up your computer for doing that kind of thing?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I would like to think that that there's everybody benefits.
That's another
here.
thing. Is it possible that there's like companies that have like servers full of like giant towers full of computers specifically for making NFTs? Do you think it's like a service where it's like sign up here and pay this low rate to make this thing into an NFT? Like
Low hash rate.
kind of like how you could pay a company.
Ha.
Like kind of like how you could pay a company to render out your 3D animations, for example.
Right.
Like, do you think something like that exists?
I think
your NFT farms, I guess.
I think that's something that could very well start becoming a thing. I mean, we have servers for cloud gaming, right? So there's a market for that. There should be maybe some kind of like server render farm going on for something like this for NFTs, especially since it really does seem like a lot of people, especially a lot of artists online, could be aiming to doing something like that.
Maybe we see crypto farms. Like it's like you sign up for the service and you pay a regular fee and they take a cutout, but you can get a little bit of cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
That actually doesn't make that much sense.
I mean, it could happen. It could still happen. I mean, like, by that same stretch, I would say that NFTs don't really make a lot of sense, but people are still doing it.
NFTs on paper could have made sense, but the way they're currently
practice,
being
no.
used, no.
No. I'm actually familiar with Charlie Bit My Finger from Charlie's video on it. Because,
Yeah, that's. The moment you mentioned Jack Dorsey's tweet, I'm just like, okay, he also watched Critical.
yeah.
We both
yeah,
had we had the same source here.
Yes, we do. He's our source for a lot of these things, actually.
Is he?
Like, come to think of it, yeah.
I wouldn't call him a source for tech news, in my opinion.
No. Like, not necessarily. He just like delivers on memes that happen to be tech related as well.
Sometimes.
Yeah. In the best way possible.
I would give a shout out, but he doesn't even need one at this point.
No.
He has a huge following. He does not need a shout out.
Massive. Yes. In fact, most of you listening to the podcast right now probably know who he is. Massive, gigantic YouTuber / Twitch streamer. But yeah, like I got my news from him. And yeah, like it's just insane to hear all of these things.
It's like I saw his video about it, and then I was reminded of it yesterday through an article, and I'm like, that could be something to talk about, I guess. And then yeah, low hash rate, so it ties right in very nicely. It's a nice little bow of we're working on the transitions, man. We're getting the transitions right.
Yes. 50 episodes in, and we're getting it.
That's
finally.
another thing too. 50
on
episodes.
That. Indeed.
Yeah.
A celebration. Let's go out and celebrate this, with all of you. Thank you so much for helping us get through 50 episodes of the Tech Summit podcast.
50 whole episodes.
Yes, we are halfway through 100. However, many parties are going to go on in the studio. So
no drinks for today's episode, though.
Of course, no. Because someone forgot.
I didn't think it was really necessarily worth it.
How dare you?
I don't know.
Comment down below if you think it's worth it.
100 episodes, 1 year anniversary in October. I don't know. I was thinking like those are like okay. Then we bring out the hard stuff.
I mean that could work too, but I feel like that's going to be like such a random number. Like when we get to the 1 year anniversary.
That's because we kept swapping around between once a week and twice a week.
That's true. Yeah.
Like I'm trying to remember. I think if we kept on to the twice a week format, the 1 year anniversary would have been either on or very close to episode 100. Like it would have been extremely close.
Probably so, yeah.
I was like trying to do that math during one of the remote episodes. So it's like it would have been extremely close.
Yeah. And so far like we haven't sticking to weekly episodes, so it is going to take a while.
Yeah, if we do weekly episodes, episode 100 would probably be next June, give or take. And the 1 year anniversary is just October. Straight up.
Yeah, most certainly.
And of course, it's New Year's,
Yeah,
as always.
and of course we had to celebrate New Year's.
Celebrate New Year's.
Yeah, however, a vacation might be impending around that time. Who knows?
Possibly.
Yeah, possibly. We'll see.
Yeah.
Plenty of
course.
talk still to be had. However, NVIDIA hash rate stuff, it is very good to see that they have been combating, or at least trying to do so, pretty late into the game, considering that we've been screaming about this for a while.
Of course. These things kind of always have to move a little bit slowly because obviously, these are big machines.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of networks, a lot of things and checks and balances you have to go through in order to approve things like this.
Yeah.
Of course, we have the current times that are not really helping us, although
The coup.
slowly exiting, thankfully.
Yes, that is true.
Very slowly,
Mm-hmm.
very late,
Yes.
but
But hey, like it is still happening,
So,
and that's still important. Progress is progress.
I want to feel like by next year we'll have like gone back to like a regular form of stock, or at least we'll be getting close to that. And then the video will announce the 4000 series, and we'll be doing with this all over again.
Which technically is when they would be doing it.
Exactly.
Which I pray to God that they do not, because
Yeah.
that would be insane.
You're going to be doing this song and dance for a very, very long time.
And on to our next piece of news over here. We've actually have some news surrounding Starfield, which is a game that I personally am not really all that interested in. However, upon finding this out, I was kind of like, oh, this is not good at all for people who were very, very much expecting this game to come out this year.
Which seemed like a pretty safe bet for some people because Bethesda doesn't really announce games usually until like they're very close to release.
Yes.
There was leaks and rumors to suggest that Starfield could be announced at E3 next month,
Mm-hmm.
which, I just remembered, E3 is going to be coming up.
Yes.
And we should probably do an E3 special when that time comes.
Oh yeah, we should. Now, with that said, considering like E3 should actually be a pretty big event this time around because I think Sony is actually joining in.
No.
No?
Sony's not joining in, if I recall correctly.
Then who was it that was
A
joining?
bunch of people were doing events. I believe Microsoft's definitely there, and Bethesda will be tied to Microsoft.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, probably safe to assume that Nintendo's going to have an event or like a direct there at the time.
They usually do have a direct.
Konami was going to, and then they dropped out. I guess because they realized that they don't have anything to show besides like PES, so
Or like Yu-Gi-Oh cards, like Yu-Gi-Oh booster sets.
which they don't do
Yeah.
during E3.
I know. It is totally
They don't do the physical
understandable.
card games, no.
Yeah. However, I wanted to say over here that expect to hear something about the game at E3 2021. This article is titled Starfield release date looks like it's 2022, and it will reportedly be a PC Xbox exclusive. This one was posted a day ago.
I'm actually getting really annoyed now with people, everyone having to report that these games are going to be PC and Xbox exclusive.
Like we know that.
We know.
Yes.
Stop. Like I'm actually getting really tired of people like being in denial, thinking maybe it's going to come to PlayStation. Stop.
It's not.
Give
No.
up.
No.
It's not.
No.
It's over. I'm going to really hate it when you have the report that comes out saying Elder Scrolls 6 is Xbox exclusive. No, duh. We know that.
Mhm.
Stop thinking otherwise.
I know. Like, at this point, it should be fairly obvious that most Bethesda titles are probably just going to be,
All Bethesda titles.
yeah,
Except for
Xbox exclusives and
like
PC.
Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo. Those are your last Bethesda games coming to PlayStation. After that, it's over. Either get a PC or get an Xbox.
Oh, yeah, that's so easy. That's so easy to do.
I mean, later on down the road, Series S
Yeah.
for $300.
I'm just messing with you. Don't. Yes, but yes, like we should be seeing a lot more hardware, hopefully in 2022 if things get better. Now, this article is titled. Well, I mean, I've already mentioned it. It is written by Nick Pino, and he says, for the last few days, new information has begun to emerge about Starfield, Bethesda's next open world space adventure that's currently in development. It started with a tweet from Games Beats, Jeff Grubb, who said the game is confirmed to be PC/Xbox exclusive after Microsoft's acquisition of Bethesda earlier this year. And now some other industry sources say that the game might make an appearance at Microsoft and Bethesda's E3 2021 conference. It's there. It says Bloomberg's Jason Schreier that we'll get the bad news. Starfield's most likely release is late 2022. So Jason Schreier says on his Twitter, let me make this very clear. Bethesda's plan is to tease a release date for Starfield at E3. That date is in late 2022. I'll leave you specifics to them. But please keep your expectations in check and refrain from sending death threats when the other rumors turn out to be false.
Ooh, yeah. I like how Jason Schreier is getting ahead of that because it does tend to be the thing that, like, if rumors come out and then they turn out to be false or, like, a game gets delayed or whatever, there's people out there that, for whatever reason, immediately resort to death threats. And
I mean, look what happened to CD Projekt Red.
CD Projekt Red multiple times.
They had a lot of issues with
No
that.
Man's Sky, when someone was reporting that No Man's Sky was going to be delayed, there was a lot of people who sent death threats to them. And then when Sony announced that, yeah, it actually is getting delayed, everyone was like, oh, sorry. Or they just redirected their death threats to Sony and Hello Games, which Hello Games then receives more death threats when the game actually came out.
I see. There's just no happy ending here, is there?
Why? Stop sending death threats, guys.
Yeah.
It doesn't make the game come out faster.
It doesn't.
They don't think, oh man, I better hurry up because this guy says he's gonna strangle me. It's not gonna help. It just makes you look really extremely unprofessional in the best case, and in the worst case, it gets you a visit from the police.
Well, sir, we heard that you've been sending some unsolicited messages to some agents at said companies. What are you gonna do? Run away?
Depending on the scale of the death threat, it could be like considered a terroristic threat. You know, because you always have those one guy who's like, oh, if you don't hurry up with this game already, I'm gonna burst into the headquarters. And I'm just gonna like kill all. And then it's like that's a terroristic threat.
It could be. Yeah.
That's a mass shooting threat.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to maybe do some censoring here.
You think so?
I think so.
You think
quite
so?
a bit. I think so. It's all right. It came out.
I understand it's a little dodgy, but at the same time, it's like we have to find a way around it. But
I just want to. Yeah, I know.
The mega
I just
bad
want to
threat.
be sure.
The mega bad threat.
Yeah, or like D threats, you know. But you know, something along the lines that will allow YouTube to say, "Hey, you guys are advertiser friendly" and things like that, because they do get sensitive.
YouTube is
they're confusing.
Dumb. I'm gonna say dumb, not confusing. Dumb.
Yes, YouTube is indeed dumb. I have to.
What isn't dumb, however, is taking your time to make a video game to make sure that's pretty good, which is what Starfield seems to be doing here.
Yes, and as that one very popular quote once said, I'm not gonna say it because I'm sick and tired of hearing it and reading it. Yes.
Every single time a game gets delayed, everyone on Reddit is like the quote.
Yeah, the quote. Yeah, you better say that.
I'm not saying the quote.
That's like a trigger quote to me.
Really?
Yeah, that brings out the worst in me. It turns me into an animal.
Oh.
I'm like, shut up, we get it.
So you're saying that the quote is bad once, but the quote can be good forever. I was butchering it anyway, so
yeah. There you go. And that's what you get. Yes,
so you mentioned that Starfield is not really a game that you're interested in. I'm interested because I like Bethesda's RPGs. I like space games.
Fair.
So I'm interested, and I want them to take as much time as they need to. Bethesda games have always been notoriously very buggy, and it's possible that maybe through being acquired by Microsoft, that maybe there'll be a higher standard of quality assurance. Hopefully, there's no crunch to go with it. Hopefully.
That's inevitable.
I'm really hoping. But at the same time, you said before we started recording that apparently they were working with a smaller crew for a period of time. Tell us about that.
So for quite a while they've been working on this project, it does seem like they have been working with a smaller crew of people, like a lot smaller than what they probably should have been working with. And that did not change until 2019. So from there, you know, the team doesn't seem to feel like the game is anywhere near ready for release. You know, and that's I mean that is very much unfortunate. It seems like Starfield really was like a B team project. If it had that small of a project, Bethesda has never really been that big. Like if you look back at the Elder Scrolls games, they've always been pretty small teams of people.
It actually kind of concerns me a little bit then, because if I recall correctly, 2019 is when the games were actually like being revealed with the little splash screens between Starfield and Elder Scrolls. Was it not like 2018 or 19 that they did that?
Something like that, yeah.
It might have actually been 18. So That's concerning because you would think that it's like, okay, Starfield when they announced it was already in development for a decent bit of time.
Mhm.
And Elder Scrolls 6 was the one that was working with a tiny crew, while everyone else was like full steam ahead on Starfield.
Yeah.
So to hear that they might have actually had another year or so before they actually started full development, it's like, what were they working on the whole time?
I do want to know. I mean, it could have just been that they have been working the entire time on it. It's just that because it was a much smaller team, they haven't been able to get nearly.
But
as
then
much work
what
done.
else are they working on? What else? What is the rest of the team working on at that point? Because Fallout 76 was done by a different team.
Yeah.
It was done by a different team.
And they
Fallout
also
4
mentioned that
was
there's,
long since done.
and they also mentioned that there isn't going to be much work on Elder Scrolls 6 until Starfield comes out.
No, yeah, they said they're not
Yeah.
working on. That's Elder Scrolls 6 is waiting entirely.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have the additional announcement that, at least as of a couple of years ago, it was announced that these games are still going to be using the exact same engine.
What?
So it's like you can't even say, oh, it's a small crew working on the development stuff while the rest of the big team, the big A team, is working on a new engine. No, they said they were using the exact same engine, the engine that has been in use since Fallout 3, since Oblivion.
There's something very wrong with us.
An engine that is going to be approaching 15, almost 20 years old by the time Elder Scrolls 6 probably comes out.
Yeah. Well, Oblivion was barely, in my opinion, could barely be considered a 360 title. Like, it was a 360 title.
It was.
But the graphics were they still looked very PlayStation 2-esque. However, there, like that kind of open world that we got for Oblivion, I don't think, at least in the way that it looked, I don't think we could have gotten that on PlayStation 2. However, when it comes to the character models, the faces, the choppy fighting system, all that stuff, like that's very PlayStation 2-ish.
And of course, this engine is notable for loads of bugs and problems. One of the biggest criticisms of Fallout 76 is that it was extremely buggy and broken, and a big reason for that is because the engine was really starting to show its age.
Yes.
It was already showing its age back when Skyrim and Fallout 4 came out. And keep in mind, those are 6 years apart.
Yeah.
Themselves.
I mean, Skyrim
Well,
itself
4 years,
was
excuse me,
extremely
4.
buggy.
Yeah, especially on PlayStation 3.
Yes.
So it's like the engine has been
Right.
showing problems for a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then they announced that they're still going to be using it for Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield.
They're
What
insane.
are they doing?
Yeah, like
What are they doing?
It sounds to me like they're really trying to drag themselves into failure
the
here.
only
because
thing I can think of is that development had to have restarted at some point. There was a point where they were working full steam ahead, and they scrapped everything and had a small team try to figure if they can salvage whatever. Like that's the only way I can think that this makes sense.
probably. I
Or,
mean,
or they're secretly working on a new engine after hearing the criticisms. Maybe.
it's certainly not the first time in gaming history that would have happened. I mean, like we've got things like, for instance, I like, do correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think that Kingdom Hearts 3 at first was being developed with Crystal tools. I could be wrong, but I think so. Then they eventually, when they decided that it was going to be like a PlayStation 4 title, an Xbox One title, they decided to move on to Unreal instead, and that sped up the process a lot. Final Fantasy VII Remake also to Unreal. That helped speed things up way more.
I'm honestly wondering, with these games, do you think Bethesda could benefit from moving to, say, Unreal 5?
Yeah. Who wouldn't? I can't disagree with that whatsoever. They should not be using that one. That old Skyrim.
I'm trying to remember what the name of the engine
Yeah,
is. It's not Havoc, but
No.
give me a second.
But dude, yeah, like they should not be using that incredibly old engine at this point that probably hasn't even been properly updated.
They just keep modifying it. And of course, the more you modify it, the more prone to bugs you're going to be.
Yeah.
Creation engine.
Creation engine. Okay.
Creation
I think we need an update.
Wait, no, not creation. Gamebryo.
Okay.
That's what it was, Gamebryo.
And instead of making like a whole new engine, like that's not what I'm suggesting either. I'm more so just suggesting like stick with the engines that are tried and true, prove to work. Like
No,
Unreal.
I'm gonna say you need a new engine. Yeah, maybe if you, Unreal 5 does have a lot of potential visually speaking, and Unreal has always been known for being like an easier platform to develop with. Like you just mentioned, Square Enix sped up their production way faster once they shifted over to Unreal instead of Crystal Engine.
Crystal
Tools.
And then there was Luminous Engine, which was the one that they used for Final Fantasy 15.
Oh yes.
Yeah, like and that's another reason why it takes Square Enix so long to release these Final Fantasy games, especially under Tetsuya Nomura. Though the issues with 13 did not really have to do with Nomura. I don't think he was involved almost at all with the game. But still, like, it's because they tend to develop engines alongside new Final Fantasy games. Like, they try to work hand in hand with each other instead of using pre-existing engines.
Okay, excuse me.
But it looks like they're leaving that practice behind.
Pardon me. It is the creation engine that they are using. I want to make a correction. It is the creation engine that they've been using since Skyrim, but the creation engine itself is just a modified Gamebryo.
Okay.
So that's what it is. They modified Gamebryo for the creation engine, and Gamebryo has been in use since 1997. So it's like
That's when I was born.
they're just incrementally updating the engine, but it's still like the framework is extremely obsolete, in my opinion.
That's insane. Like Bethesda, they're being that stubborn uncle right now that just refuses to get in with the times.
Exactly. It's weird. Like you would think Starfield, Elder Scrolls 6, like Starfield is their first new IP in 25 years. Apparently, is their first new IP in generations. You think they would want it to look as impressive as possible by using a new engine?
No, they don't care. Obviously, they don't.
And Elder Scrolls 6 is the same thing. We're approaching the 10-year anniversary of Skyrim.
Yes.
You'd think that they would want to bring Elder Scrolls back in a big way in the next few years by, again, significant leap.
Yeah, and technically speaking, like they should have been in development for Elder Scrolls 6, maybe like a couple of years after Skyrim came out, and instead they just kept milking Skyrim for many years. And Fallout.
The same team does Fallout, so it makes sense to go from Skyrim to Fallout 4. But then you go from Fallout 4 to Starfield, and then you're telling me that
Fallout 76.
again.
Oh, that was a different team, right?
Different team. I think that's the Austin team. We're talking about the Maryland team. I think maybe Baltimore, but we're talking about like the main A-list team. It's kind of like how BioWare had two different teams after a point.
I see.
So like, you're telling me that after Fallout 4 came out, and then they did some DLC, so we'll give them until like 2016 was when they finished Fallout 4 development. We'll say that they just had a 3-year period where they weren't really doing anything until they finally started on Starfield. That does not sound right.
Yeah.
That does not sound correct.
It does not. It's very strange, and it really does
has to have
bring into
gone
question.
Wrong. They have to they must have started something, and they must have scrapped it, or whatever it is. But it's very confusing. It is going to be really upsetting if they do stick with that creation engine or the modified Gamebryo. That, like you said, it shows that they can't get with the times or evolve forward.
Mm-hmm. And that's, I mean, it is a pretty big deal. Like, just considering that this engine is extremely old at this point, and I'm pretty sure that it wouldn't really be able to deliver on the kind of visuals that we would expect for 2021, 2022 in this case, I guess, because. I mean,
of course, for Elder Scrolls, probably 2026 at this point.
Yeah. But I kind of hate to bring this up as an example, but Demon's Souls Remake. Amazing physics, fantastic quality, beautiful graphics.
What is the engine that they use?
I don't know, actually.
Let's find out.
But it's obviously not the creation engine.
Absolutely not.
Like, that is immediately visible. But, like, seeing that, like, we would probably expect a lot of next-gen titles to look like that, for you to see a lot more skin flapping and things like that, like when it comes to the bigger monsters and the bigger creatures and things like that. And, we don't want to see this from Elder Scrolls 6 Elsewhere, which is, by the way, probably what it's going to be called, since I don't know if it has been confirmed or not, but at least I can say that it has been very heavily rumored that it is going to take place in Elsewhere. Either that or Somerset Isles or something like that. I think I may have messed that naming up, but yeah, like it is going to take place in like a brighter part of Tamriel.
At least from the little splash image, the little promotional,
right? It was just mountains,
corporate thing,
It's like guys,
yes. Mountains. Hey, so you can jump sideways to climb up, and
Yeah, like we're just gonna parkour the entire time. We're gonna shout at the mountains to push us up.
Just for a note, Demon's Souls is seemingly using a modified version of Bluepoint's own engine.
Okay.
Specifically the one that they used for Shadow of the Colossus' remake.
Well, that explains why it looks so good.
Blue Point is probably honestly the best developer in the game right now when it comes to like remaking titles.
Yeah, they do make a lot of remakes, to say the least.
They
Yeah.
become the dedicated port and remake studio. They're really good at the remakes. There's a reason why everyone is hoping and constantly talking rumors that they're working on Metal Gear Solid remakes, because they would be genuinely good at them.
They would be, like, just seeing their work from like previous stuff, like Shadow of the Colossus being a pretty big example. That game was beautiful. That remake.
They're really good.
It was only $40 too.
Of course, and they
MSRP.
can go to the past. And of course, Blue Point is good at going to the past and still moving forward.
Yes.
Progressing with the technology, progressing with the engine, moving forward.
Yeah, they're very good at
adapting.
getting to the Blue Point.
Which, like we mentioned, Bethesda is really bad at. Bethesda is unwilling to adapt to the times and evolve. And it's really sad because a company that I thought would never really adapt or evolve is kind of doing that now. Transition.
I was hoping for that. Let's see. Are you guys ready for this?
So-
if you remember what the intro said.
Yes. So something that I really like sometimes is when we can talk about parts of technology on the Tech Summit podcast that don't necessarily we get to talk about a whole lot, Like when CES happened, we were able to talk a little bit about robotics, things like that, appliances.
You just like to have me asking questions. That's what it is.
No, it's not even that. It's not even that, because these are also fields that I'm not super familiar with. It's just that I think, it's Tech Summit. Let's talk about all kinds of tech.
You have
And
your own
so-
agenda to push here. All
Not
right,
even an
everybody.
agenda. It's fulfilling the name of the channel to its most logical conclusion. All tech, all the time. No discrimination.
No discrimination. Well, I think in this
No
case,
techism.
fine. Only for the podcast. However, this is actually kind of an important piece of
I
news.
think it's
would
very
say, yeah.
interesting, honestly, just to show the evolution. Because, of course, with all our talks about tech news and semiconductor shortages, the adjacent industry that also is affected by these things, and we keep touching on it every now and then, is in fact cars.
Yes.
So we have a little bit of Car Tech Summit. Yeah. All right. Yeah. We get the little theme song here. It's going to take too long to transition. It would have been nice if we had the old theme song. We would have bam.
Oh no! Thank God we don't have that anymore. But here we. Oh my goodness! My poor soundboard. What are you doing? Are you treating this like a bonus episode?
A little bit.
You're
Anyway,
ruining my vibe. Not
Anyway,
going to
so-
continue.
yes, we're going to talk about cars for a little bit. It's always nice when I can bring up cars a little bit, just because I like cars a little bit. I want to learn more about them. You know,
I want to buy a car.
and I feel like the technology in cars can often be adjacent to the tech that we usually talk about on Tech Summit. Computers, pieces like that.
Yeah.
In this instance, we're talking a little bit renewable energy tech as Lamborghini. The big hot supercar brand that everyone always talks about getting, that
Lamborghini, huh?
Reddit's Wall Street bets were constantly talking about getting when GameStop blew up, which it never did. Lambos. So Lamborghini has promised that all of their models will have, all of their models will be plug-in hybrids by the end of 2024, which is a huge step forward for them because the supercar market tends to not adapt to things like electric cars and motors and things like that, because for a variety of reasons, part of it being a lot of car enthusiasts being kind of snooty about it, like, ooh, electric cars are bad.
I feel like prices are also like kind of a factor.
Prices can play a bit of a factor.
Accessibility as well, because if we take a look at low-income neighborhoods, you're not going to find charging stations anywhere.
There's a little bit of that. Well, I mean, to be fair, if you're buying a supercar, you're not in a low-income neighborhood.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's a pretty good
You are
point.
not buying a supercar. You are not buying a Lamborghini if you live in the projects.
Yeah, I mean
That's
that
not a
is.
thing.
Yeah. You do make a very good point there.
No, the biggest argument that I've actually seen here. So just to get the full story out here, CNN is our source here. CNN Business. All Lamborghini by the end of 2024, every model Lamborghini offers will be a plug-in hybrid. Announced CEO Stefan Winkelmann.
Hope we pronounce that correctly.
Winkelmann. It's two N's at the end. I was expecting an Italian name, honestly. I was expecting an Italian name.
I guess that's usually the case. Yeah.
It's an Italian automotive maker. So, So they will combine electric motors and powerful batteries with traditional internal combustion engines. With the target customers, of course, those who spend $100,000 on cars that go fast but also look and sound fast, have shown that they are willing to accept this
Wait,
technology.
sound fast.
It matters that it's loud. They have to sound fast.
You see, I realize that with Lamborghinis. So, like in the city, you will come across a Lamborghini every now and then. And there was one actually pretty close to our school. Like one guy that would just drive down with his Lamborghini, and you could always hear him.
Sports
He was the
cars,
loudest person around.
sports cars and supercars are always loud, and in the opposite direction, electric cars tend to be
Quiet.
which is part of the reason why car enthusiasts don't like electric cars, because they do. Because it doesn't matter if they're fast; they don't sound it. They want that sound. They want to hear those pops.
I don't know, man. I kind of like that stealthy aspect of it, actually.
I kind of like not being a nuisance in some ways, but at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
Nevertheless, plug-in hybrids keep the feel and sound of an internal combustion engine when driven aggressively, while allowing the car to operate under purely electric power at times.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing to note is plug-in hybrids.
Yes.
It is not fully electric. And a fully electric Lamborghini, while apparently in development, is not going to happen for several years. And
Understandably so.
it turns out there's actually a reason for that.
What is it?
Because I was thinking that it's just, again, snooty car enthusiasts who are like, electric is terrible. But it turns out there actually is a bit of a reason why.
What would that be?
Give me a second. I'm going to go to the paragraph so I can not mess it up.
I want to know. I
Here we go.
want to know what's going on.
In order to have high horsepower and acceleration while also being able to drive hundreds of miles before needing to recharge, a car will need to carry lots of batteries.
Ah, okay.
If you want a car that is small, light, and low to the ground, which is what a sports car tends to be, it'll quickly run out of power.
Yeah.
Especially if the driver is mashing the accelerator pedal, which, let's be real here,
They will
always
be.
are. They need to flex that 0 to 60.
Exactly.
So they're working on a fully electric car, but at the current moment, it doesn't really work because it would require several batteries to be able to support the power. In which case, the car gets way heavier.
Mm-hmm.
It would drag on the ground in a way that will probably grind your bottom to dust.
So the battery tech would have to adapt first, actually,
Yes.
before that.
And it sounds like Lamborghini is in fact working on that. Like they're making strides to possibly work on getting a fully electric supercar, which I don't think we've truly seen. We have some of like the BMW i8 is a no, actually I don't think that's fully electric either. I think that is also a plug-in hybrid. And even then, a lot of car enthusiasts are actually very negative towards that car. So
yeah.
for a variety of reasons. Part of it being that, it does not sound. Like,
How dare they sell that to me?
Usual take seems to have been that it was overpriced. It was like $150,000, $60,000 for a car that is closer worth to around $50,000 to $70,000, which is the used market price for some of the older models of the i8 nowadays. So good for me.
So do you feel like there is validity to that statement? Like, do you feel like that does follow through?
From the little bits that I've heard, it makes a little bit of sense. The take that I've seen is that the BMW i8 didn't lose value more than it came down to its actual value.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the take that seems to be.
So they stopped scalping it.
That BMW was scalping it, and it came down to its actual value. Of course, again, we're talking the older model, like the 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
The 2019, which was the most recent model, because I think BMW has in fact discontinued it, they are still for around $107,000 on the aftermarket.
I see. Whew. Well, all of that information is definitely very good to know, and I was kind of left over here to ask questions. However, thank you very much for educating us on that, Christopher.
I just thought it was a very interesting thing that just in technology in general, as we move towards more renewable sources, renewable energy, trying to go emissions free. And the thing is, car technology, again, it does tend to sometimes influence technology in other parts of consumer tech. If they're working on reducing carbon emissions for cars entirely, is it not possible to do that for scooters, for mopeds, later on possibly for things like development of smartphones?
Yeah.
Computer parts.
Eventually, it'll surely end up expanding into other fields as well, to try and reduce e-waste as much as possible.
If they're working on things like semiconductors are being used by both the tech and car industries. So if, say, for example, if Lamborghini or BMW or Ford or whatever, if they say, we want to see if we can make semiconductors that are carbon neutral in manufacturing and work completely on renewable sources, is it not possible? Then that influences the other markets. So we get carbon neutral smartphones.
Carbon neutral. I mean, that sounds pretty cool.
Carbon neutral PC builds. Is it possible that we get GPUs that do not require, e-waste, that do not require things like that?
Fair.
You can have PC builds, workstations like what you and I have that are completely carbon neutral. That, using them for things like, say, just to go back to one of the earlier subjects, mining Bitcoin. Is it possible that through technology that they're working on here in cars, that we could get mining stations that are carbon neutral, which would make things like NFTs and cryptocurrency way more viable and sustainable? In my
Yes,
opinion.
I must agree with you there. And I think that there's a pretty bright future ahead of it. Now, with that said, I think it is about time for us to go ahead and call it quits for tonight's episode.
Of course.
Yes.
I know, again, we don't talk about cars that much, but I do find it very interesting just because, of course, Ford, Toyota, all of those, they've been working on electric cars for a while now.
No worries.
But
I
to
do think
see-
that this, I do think that this is all very interesting because it is all leading onto something very
Say,
big.
To see a major enthusiast manufacturer like Lamborghini, jump into this market, it's like, now things are getting very serious.
Yes.
And so it's going to send ripples throughout the automotive industry and throughout all of tech.
Indeed.
And of course, we are Tech Summit.
We are. And with that said, again, thanks to you patrons who have been entered into the Tech Summit. Whoa. The Tech Summit Patreon. You have been automatically
we gotta
entered.
start that over. We have to start the track over.
It's already there, but oh my goodness.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's okay.
Ah.
You've all been entered to win this. However, I just wanted to say, and I'm going to let you handle the rest of this outro for a very good reason. But thank you so much for watching. Social media is down here, and thank you so much for being a patron. And if you're not a patron yet, then do consider pledging because we do monthly giveaways just like this. But
And of
until next
course-
time,
whoa.
I am Francisco.
Oh yeah, hold on.
No, you handle the rest of it.
Why do I have to handle the rest of
Oh,
it?
you'll understand soon.
Okay. In either case, thank you guys very much for keeping track of the Patreon here. Oh my goodness. Oh, we have I think, oh God. In any case, yes, subscribe to the Patreon because we do get uncensored episodes of the podcast where we talk about other things. We say bad words. Yeah, like you said, social media has already been shown. Please subscribe to the Patreon. Thank you very much. That was Francisco leaving in a hurry. I'm Chris, and as he would say, enjoy. Good night. Travel well.